Welcome to a crash course in Warframe. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Volt. And just like Loki and Excalibur, this is one of the frames that are available for free to fresh accounts. Now, if you've watched the BFF report, you've already seen lots of action from this guy because it was one of my first frames. And if I had to go back and do it all over again, I would still pick this guy. It's got a great blend of offensive and defensive abilities. He's also the closest you're probably going to get to Raiden in this game, if Raiden had a bow staff. Now, in comparison to the Excalibur Warframe, you can see that he has much more health, but much less armor. But regardless, at no point did I ever feel like I was squishing this character. Again, defensive and offensive abilities. Let's take a look. First one is Shock. This skill is actually a little controversial. You see, it keeps going through buffs and nerfs. Right now, I would say it's probably on the nerf side, especially since I'm sitting here trying to shock some infested creatures and they're not dying. It's supposed to do a high amount of damage to a single target and some AoE damage to the ones around it, while at the same time applying a stun. And for that alone, I'd say go ahead and put at least 1 point into it because it's good to have a stun when you need it. But for the most part, I think you're gonna be using speed more than anything. I mean, why stun when you can get 1,000 yards away in about 5 seconds? Speed has to be one of the most useful abilities out of all of the Warframes. It's cheap, and if you have the energy, you can keep using it. It takes your basic Warframe Space Ninja abilities, and it just amplifies them. And in practically any situation, if I just need to put some distance between me and the target, I can. And this is why this guy is always using the Snipetron, which is the sniper rifle. It just makes sense. Every once in a while, you're gonna commit yourself to a situation that is just bad, and there's nothing you can do to get out of it. Maybe you don't wanna run away, you wanna stay and fight, but you also don't wanna die. Well, that's where the electric shield comes in. This is the third ability for the Volt, and as you can see, it is extremely useful. You see, not only is it a deployable cover, it also allows you to shoot through it. It takes a little bit off the top in terms of damage, but it adds an electric boost that is quite impressive depending on who you're fighting. And you don't have to be the only one to benefit from this. If everybody wants to huddle behind an electric shield, you can. If you're fighting a boss, run up, put a shield in his face, and almost everybody's gonna benefit from it. And finally, we have Overload. This is the fourth and last ability for the Volt, and it costs 100 energy, and it's pretty cool, especially when you slow it down. But as cool as it is visually, you have to understand that this thing is not effective on everything. As a matter of fact, Corpus, you're gonna see a massive damage increase versus the Grineer or Infested. As a matter of fact, this thing is so effective against Corpus, I would even say they need to balance it a little bit better so you can do more damage to the Grineer and Infested to make it feel a bit, more on par with everything else. Right now, it is definitely a beta ability, so it works okay, but it could use a little bit of tweaking. Now, even though you have the choice between Loki, Volt, and Excalibur as one of your first starting frames, I still think that Excalibur is probably the most balanced. But if you want to play ranged and provide a good amount of support, I would definitely choose Volt.